no professional women's cricket. I didn't even think that women could be professional sports people.
Especially early on, it just didn't really seem like there was a career in it.
To support myself around cricket, I had to work at the petrol garage.
I was the only girl, so I stood out.
I'd love for young girls to be able to dream about being an athlete and it to be achievable.
Thanks to the Hilton funding my contract, it's allowed me to play the game that I love all day, every day.
We're like an engine and we need to be fuelled with the right gas.
Without funding, we can't be visible. You can't be what you can't see.
As a team, it feels like we're breaking boundaries.
Thunder and Lancashire always want to put women's cricket at the forefront, and now I think that's really shining through.
It's mad to think that without the Hilton funding, like, we wouldn't be playing cricket every day, training.
Well, we could be, but we wouldn't have any money.
We wouldn't, yeah, true.
Welcome to the opening day. Oh, that is a wonderful shot.
Hello, good morning and welcome to Emirates Old Trafford. We're live here at Lancs TV, bringing you the second game of the day from Dubai. This will be the men's T20 match between Lancashire 11 and a UAE 11. I've got Graham Hardcastle alongside me. Graham, you were here for the women's game. That was a good win for them.
It was, yeah. It wasn't a flawless performance by any stretch of the imagination. Had to battle with the bat. Quite a few starts, nobody really going on. Got themselves to a total of 110. Decent start from the UAE, but again, they got a few starts. But then the kind of middle and lower order were just blown away really by the one impressive thing from Thunder's point of view was their bowling and fielding. They were really, really impressive in that sense, and showed resilience.
Right. Well, this is the second leg of the men's pre-season tour. They've spent some time in Bengaluru. We brought you the game from there, which they unfortunately couldn't win. Hoping for better this time. It's virtually the same side that played out in Bengaluru, so missing quite a few of the senior players. The news is that Lancashire will bat first. The pitch is looking pretty decent, so Lancashire batting first, and we can have a bit of a preview now because earlier we spoke to Luke Wood.
Woody, bit of a change of scene. We've gone from Bengaluru to Dubai. Training day at the Sevens today. How have you and the lads found it?
Yeah, it's been pretty productive. We had a couple of quiet days off the last 2 days. But no, it's good to get back training. It's a good facility here at the Sevens. We've had a couple of pitches to use, red ball on one, white ball on the other ahead of tomorrow. And yeah, the nets have been good and lads have enjoyed it.
For you personally, it's probably the first time for quite a while you've spent a good block of time with Lancs. How much have you enjoyed being back in and around the lads and with the red rose on?
Yeah, it's been good fun. India was good. It was hard graft and but no, it's great to be around the lads again. Obviously, I've had quite a prolonged period of time away. So yeah, it's good back around the lads. Lads seem in good spirits, and yeah, the lads are training hard and are putting some good work ahead of the season. So hopefully that stands us well.
Third and final game of the tour tomorrow. It's a T20 doubleheader. Women playing in the morning, men in the afternoon. How much are you looking forward to getting out there?
Yeah, it'd be good fun. T20s over here are always good fun. The pitch seems pretty good and the outfield seems good, so hopefully not too high scoring, being a bowler. But no, I think the lads are looking forward to a bit of a competitive game. We've obviously had a couple in India, but no, any competitive sort of cricket you can get before the start of the summer is good. And yeah, the lads are looking forward to it.
We'll be live on Lancs TV for all the viewers back home. Lads must be hoping to put a bit of a show on.
Yeah, I think anyone who's tuning in around the world, lads can put on a bit of performance, and yeah, whether it's for the members, see what we're doing, or just people around the world sort of watching. It's always good for especially some of the younger lads. We've obviously got quite a lot here, so for them to just show what they can do in different formats. Obviously 50 over cricket back in Bangalore, and then we had a bit of red ball practice, but also, like I said, the T20 tomorrow, different format, lads can showcase their skills.
"1864. We were first class then, and we're first class now. With a dream to spread cricket through Lancashire's towns, where girls and boys, with willow and leather, become more than a badge, but the red rose together.
A club where more than legends are made, but friendships, obsessions, moments replayed on our screens, in our minds, in our hearts forever.
'Cause it's who we are, our DNA, the red rose together.
Statham, Briggs, Jimmy, Freddie and Joss, Chappie, Sir Clive Lloyd, Carol Hodges, Kate Cross. What a roll call. It's a hard one to measure, with future names still to be written on the red rose together.
We're all about people. It's what the red rose really means. Yeah, the ones signing autographs, but the ones behind the scenes.
Our community, grassroots, the ones that feel tethered. Whether you're from here or belong here, we're the red rose together.
And what about this place? Talk about world-class venues, internationals, gigs, events. You can choose from a menu of triumph, of disaster, of pain, or pleasure.
We've seen it all at Emirates Old Trafford, with the red rose together.
Red ball, white ball, lightning and thunder.
Have you ever sat back? Have you ever just wondered how far we've come? The storms we've weathered, or how far we'll go as the red rose together.
So, early words from Luke Wood and our Red Rose Together video setting up the day, Graham. It's a young side that's going to be playing today in this T20 game, and T20 is great for being played out in Dubai. It doesn't have an awful lot of relevance to early season at Emirates Old Trafford because Lancashire are going to be playing county championship cricket, but nonetheless it's a good important day for the lads to get into the rhythm of playing.
Yeah, I mean, the results aren't the be-all and end-all, clearly, as you say, but after 2 defeats, ideally they could do with winning a game, couldn't they? You know, just to build a little bit of confidence here and there. They won't want to come back on that flight from Dubai with 3 defeats to the name. But still, the performances are the most important thing, I guess. You know, it's quite a fine balance really today. So certainly, probably the most important game of the 3, isn't it? You would say.
Yeah, I think so. And it's always. I mean, I've been on a few of these pre-season trips. it's always treated as the number one game being played out in Dubai. It's a bit of a feature match. We were told earlier that Lancashire were batting. They're not, obviously. They're fielding. So there's Josh Bohannon, who's captaining the side today. I've seen Luke Wood in the background. The team quickly is Bell, Fonseca, Bohannon, Balderson, Jones, Wood, Blatherwick, Aspinwall, Boyden, Sutton and Barnard. And Barnard, with his slow left arm spin, has been the star of the show so far.
He was superb, wasn't he? On was it Wednesday when we saw them out in Bengaluru? He's seemingly taken to senior first team cricket like a duck to water, actually, because he was impressive in the brief exposure that he had in the One Day Cup last year. So yeah, he's been really good.
So, about to get underway. George Bell has the gloves behind the stumps. Luke Wood has the ball in his hand. Here we go. A little bit of swaying and beautifully flicked away off his toes by the UAE opening batsman. That's got their innings off to a fine start. Not so much Lancashire's bowling performance.
No, just heard in line that the kind of in-swing worked ideally for the opener there.
So Luke Wood just a little full and a little leg side. It's a lovely shot by the opening batter. Flicked away over the leg side. Full toss, second ball, but a little bit of swing, which is encouraging for Luke Wood. You don't see the white ball swing too much, and that swing only really lasts for perhaps an over or two at most. So important that the opening bowlers make the most of that. So there we go. We've got full details up for you. Panoli is the batter on strike. Sharafu at the non-striker's end. He's not going to hold back, is he?
No, I was just thinking that exactly the same thing. He doesn't look like he's going to die wondering, does it?
Which is fair enough. It's what you get in T20 cricket. Got a slip in place.
He's targeting the second oval there, I think.
I think so, yeah. Just over the back of the pavilion, there's another ground. You just see it there behind the umpire. Good setup out in the UAE. There's a indoor centre there with gym and nets and whatever else. 2 quality grounds, just not far away from the main Dubai cricket ground. That one goes straight away across towards the slips. George Bell with an appeal. It wasn't particularly wholehearted. I think the bat might have hit the ground on the way through.
You just notice George there just signal for the DRS then.
Not going to get that, are we?
No. Yeah, this is the ground. This is the Sevens venue, isn't it? It's about a half-hour drive outside of Dubai, and then you've got the ICC Academy.
Yeah, it's all in that sporting complex there. The ICC. This is the ICC Academy, and the main ground is just a bit further on.
This is the Sevens.
This
is the one about half an hour away, and then you've got the Dubai Academy where you've got the big indoor nets where the international teams will train ahead of various tours and all that kind of stuff. So. That's a good shot.
It's a repeat of the first ball, isn't it? First top and tail in the over quite nicely. Except that one has gone all the way for 6. So a really good start for UAE. And Luke Wood just a little bit wayward first and last ball. He's got that shot down to a tee, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
Plays it beautifully. Doesn't try to overhit or hit it hard. Just helped away over deep backward square for 6.
The one thing in the women's game this morning, the outfield was slower than I think any of us were expecting, really. It's not been in use so far.
Lush, was it?
Yeah.
Or well, if you keep hitting 6s, it doesn't really matter about the outfield, does it? And that flick off your pads is it's going to put plenty on the ball anyway. So Tom Aspinwall to open up, bustling in.
Seemed to hurry Sharafu there.
Yeah, did a little. I don't think he was expecting that shorter delivery. We got a report that the pitch was evenly grassed. I thought it might be slow and low. Nice way to get off the mark with a drive to deep point. Ollie Sutton out there. Interested to see how he bowled it. Bowled with a bit of pace in Bengaluru.
He did. Yeah, he was good. Extra bounce as well, wasn't there? There was certainly one, maybe two, that kind of shot over the keeper.
Likes it in his half, doesn't he, Ollie?
Could have been onto the rugby ground that had he connected.
Just had a message from Alex Glover, who's our communications guy out in. It's no toss in the men's game. We will bat first. Oh, driven straight back over the umpire's head and right out of the middle of the bat. So 3 boundaries for Panoli, 2 4s and a 6.
I've woken the umpire up, I suspect. Good fielding by Bohannon. Initially on the stroke, I was wondering whether it was going to be another boundary, but Lancashire captain for the day got down. Prevented that. Captain for the day, vice captain permanently under Keaton Jennings, who isn't featuring today, just as he didn't in Bengaluru.
Might be a wide, that. Banged in halfway down by Aspinwall. Yeah, given as a wide. A bit of tennis ball bounce, a bit of loopy bounce. Half tracker to finish the over, and that's going to go away for another boundary. It's a ill-disciplined start from Lancashire's opening bowlers, and the UAE are 21 without loss from 2.
Yeah, Aspinwall hurried the batter with the first short ball of the over. He didn't there. There was plenty of time to rock onto that back foot and get that one away through mid-wicket. Well, the message to the Lancashire bowlers after a dozen balls is anything
full is going to be whipped away, either driven or hit square of the wicket, and anything short is going to stand up and be hit. So accuracy important. Start of the third over now, and it's Luke Wood again, bowling his second of the day. It's better from him. I think he took a bit of pace off that. Michael Jones with the bit of fielding, and from that reaction it looks as though it was perilously close to hitting the stumps, and if it had, might have been a run out.
What was it?
Oh, damage to sunglasses. That's certainly a modern day issue, isn't it?
First world problems.
Oh, saw the sunglasses come on. I quite know what happened
late into the frame.
Yeah, they were.
It was almost as if the umpire had chucked him at the stumps.
That's right. He's still fiddling with them. Watch the game. That's better from Wood.
How's that? I'm not 100% sure. I was sorting your sunnies.
He's got one pair on his head as well, the umpire, on his hat.
Is Wood just saying, have you sorted them?
Oh, he was wearing quite a flamboyant pair, wasn't he, in the interview? But I don't think it was those. They'll have a few fingerprints on them now, won't they? Anyway, it's Wood in again. That's a drive high over cover. And you're right, the outfield is not particularly quick. That's almost plugged in the outfield. Go through, they'll come back for two. Not timed, I don't think, or middled, that shot.
Yeah, I've been there a few times, not for a while actually, but to that venue, and it's always seemed to be a slow outfield. Quite lush.
Might be worth bearing in mind that at the end of the innings then, could add a couple to reflect that in the score. Too short from Wood and pulled away this time. Straight to deep square.
Yeah, there isn't much grass knocking around the UAE, is there? But there's quite a bit at that venue, certainly.
Well, when you get a irrigation system in place, add a bit of water to the heat, it makes everything rather lush. First impressions on this surface is that you've basically best off bowling conventionally. Good line, good length, and the pitch will help you a little. If you vary it too much, you're allowing the batsman an easier ride.
Charlie Barnard on camera there.
Dot ball to finish the over, so better over from Luke Wood, just 5 coming from it. Just brought his length back a little bit, varied his pace perhaps a touch as well, but well, it wasn't his glasses that were damaged, is it? Was it? It must have been the umpires.
Yeah, he's still. Oh no, he's not. Is It's a big season for Luke, isn't it, actually?
Mm.
Really, really interesting to see where he fits in the
grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I mean, does he want to play red ball cricket?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm getting at, really. I mean, he's obviously going to be a huge part of the blast side. Going to be away for the 100, so he'll be unavailable for the Metro Bank, and then be interesting to see whether he plays much Championship cricket. I saw him in some of the training videos that were posted earlier in the tour. Saw him bowling a red ball quite early on. So,
well, he was signed 4 or 5 years ago when I was director of cricket as a key component in the build-up of Lancashire's bowling attack. That's driven viciously towards Bohannon at mid-off, who fumbles. Somewhat annoyed with himself. No damage done, though. Yeah, no, he was signed. It's a vital component because you need as much variety as you possibly can when you're bowling on this pitch at Emirates Old Trafford. You need a bit of pace, and he's got that. You need a left armour. Well, he's that. So that's a double whammy. That's short and wide, should be signalled a wide, but is not being. So pace, left arm, wrist spin, ideally, and then your 2 other bowling components of the Tom Bailey type, and that's a decent attack. Jimmy Anderson for this year, with our fingers crossed. Let's hope he plays a number of games. Short again from Aspinwall, and that's just sat up to be hit. It's gone for 4, I think, being signalled by one of the watching player. Is that Tom Hartley? Didn't think he was there.
I'm pretty sure he's off to India later this week. So there's a Lancashire are involved in a Visit Manchester showcase event. Out.
Gone. Jones takes the catch as Sharafu looks to give himself a little bit of room to hit away on the offside. Only succeeds in finding the fielder, and that's the first success for Lancashire. Aspinwall picking up the wicket. Pretty simple catch in the end. It looped off the outside edge to Jones at backward cover.
Did he just roll his fingers down the ball? I just wonder whether it might.
It is Tom Hartley anyway.
Slower ball.
There he is.
Yeah.
Keaton Jennings as well. There's a number of senior players missing from this Lancashire lineup. We were just writing them down before. Jennings, Wells, Hurst, Bailey, Williams, Hartley, to name but a few. Anderson as well, who's Jimmy Anderson will be going out to Desert Springs in Spain with the fast bowling unit. Tom Bailey, I think, will be going on that as well for a few days later this month.
Luke Wood, last championship game, September 2023.
Well, it's an issue not just pertaining to Lancashire, but right throughout the county game, isn't it? As players look to pick and choose when and where they play and what form of the game they want to play.
There's certainly been an increase in offerings, hasn't there, since kind of, well, COVID maybe. You know, with the likes of the MLC in America, places like that, with leagues popping up. So there's certainly more to choose from.
Oh yeah, I mean there are so many of these one-day franchise leagues, 10 over competitions.
Yeah, ILT20 in Dubai,
yeah,
UAE,
Zimbabwe. There's one, isn't there? Canada, there's another. So Aspinwall, after that success, comes in to complete the over. A better one from him as well, just 5 from it, and the wicket, the breakthrough that was needed by Lancashire. UAE 31 for 1 from 4. 20 over game, of course. And Lancashire opting to bowl first today.
Yes, I think the UAE will be just marginally the happier. As you said it a few moments ago, been quite loose, Lancashire, but that wicket has just given them something to build on.
Lovely day in Manchester. Blue sky, sunshine, bit chilly. About 25 degrees centigrade cooler than it is in Dubai. Got a change of bowling now. Josh Boyden has come on. So still left arm and over the wicket with a hint of swing into the right-hander. That's what he looks to do. As I said before, though, the white ball not prone to swinging much. Now we've got into the 4th or 5th over.
There's a different angle, isn't there, still with Boyden to Wood? I mean, you know, he's a bit taller, Boyden.
Off the thigh, so even though Bell fumbled that, it's not a drop. Umpire signalling that came off pad or thigh.
Josh is amongst the kind of crop who like Charlie Barnard, impressed in the One Day Cup last year, and will be looking to kick on again.
That's just in the slot. Good length ball. Swung through the line, as he's already shown in the few overs that he's batted. And that's gone away for a towering 6 over long on. It's beautifully picked up.
Scattered the picnic benches as well.
26 from 16. Oh my word. It's fortunate that the batter got a toe end of the bat on it, otherwise it would have been a wide. That's Kesh Fonseca doing the fielding at short fine leg. Side-ish again. Fonseca quickly to the ball, but can't prevent the single.
Gary Morgan, Lancashire's first team scorer, is with us in the gallery, and he's just said that Panaloy has hit 444 sixes in his career. So he likes to clear the rope.
It's a good stat, that, isn't it?
I know.
I wonder how he knows that.
Knows everything, does Gary?
I know. Clearly. That's a wide. I know that for sure. Wayward. Josh Boyden, he's been down the leg side to the right hand, and that's way, way, way outside off stump. More width, but steered away to backward point for a single. Jack Blatherwick doing the fielding.
I think Gary will be getting a wee bit nervous at the moment, because I think he's a big Sheffield Wednesday fan, and they play Sheffield United today in the derby. UAE 42 for 1 after 5 overs. Panaloy 27, Amin 1. Polly has joined us. Start of the 6th over. What have you made of this start?
Yeah, it's been a decent start by the UAE. They've been going along well.
Plenty of pace so far. Quite a few short balls that have hurried the batters. And when well directed, they're a real problem. Chris Reed on the right, David Thorley, the Lancashire Thunder management.
Aspinwall with his final ball of the over.
So run out. Superb work from Josh Bohannon at mid-off. We've seen that a couple of times on this tour already. Bohannon was in the action in Bengaluru with a run out in the streamed game that we had on Wednesday. The UAE are 47 for 2. Well short. Pinoli has gone for 31 from 23 balls, a bright and breezy innings. But he would have wanted to have gone on from making a start.
Yeah, good breakthrough for Lancashire. A needed wicket as he looked very comfortable at the crease. So the UAE 2 wickets down after 6 overs. You can see the women's team watching on after their 15-run victory over the UAE women earlier today.
Bit of a trend, hasn't there, today, of kind of decent starts with the bat and then things being dragged back. We saw that in both innings of this morning's game, and there are signs of the same thing happening again here.
Yeah, it's a similar pattern. I guess it's also part of the teething problems of pre-season and pre-season tour. Again, it's a younger side, a young Lancashire team that are playing here today. This is a good position for Lancashire. 2 relatively new batters at the crease, and an opportunity to do a bit more damage. As we mentioned with the women's team as well, it's a big season for Lancashire as a club. Plenty of opportunities for trophies.
Yeah, one-time blast champions, the Red Rose, the Lightning. 2015, that success. They've qualified for umpteen finals days, regulars in the quarterfinals, and then we'll be hoping to make that final step in 2025. With the help, of course, of the likes of Chris Green, Ashton Turner, who have both signed as overseas players for this competition. Both will be available to play some championship cricket, pending fitness and other commitments, etc., etc.
.49 for 2 out in Dubai at the Sevens Stadium as Boyden continues. I know you were mentioning it earlier, but the amount of opportunities there are all around the world to play. I mean, you could just play cricket all year round. It's fantastic.
And T20
well,
cricket,
exactly.
if that's what you wanted to do. You know.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a worry to a certain degree, isn't it? You know, with you know, preserving the red ball game, I think, is what the majority of us would like to see. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it is an incredibly packed schedule across all corners of the globe. Chris Reed on the right, David Thorley on the left. Head coach and director of cricket for Thunder, the women's side.
I mean, we mentioned all these opportunities, but it's so great to see such a young Lancashire side out there. So many players that have come through the pathways and are now senior players and are kind of starting their senior careers with Lancashire, which is absolutely brilliant. A lot of homegrown talent.
Bold, played on. Josh Boyden is in the wickets. Quite fortuitous to a certain degree. It was quite a significant deviation off the inside edge, or the under edge as it was. Doesn't matter how they come. UAE are 3 down.
Yeah, good way to finish the over from a Lancashire perspective. Another wicket in the bag. Team just having drinks as 51 for 3 after 7 overs. And Amin heads back. Boyden with figures of 1 for 15 from his 2 overs so far. Just slowing that run rate down a little bit. Back into the 7s after it was up in the 8s for a while.
Yeah, I think after that early couple of overs, the early salvo from the UAE openers, I think Wasp was talking 200, if not slightly more. But yeah, it's come down significantly. Oh, now, interesting. Different shirt. Charlie Barnard into the attack, having bowled so well out in India last week in the 50-over games. Gets his opportunity to do the same in the T20 format.
Again, another product of the Lancashire Academy.
He's attacked straight away and concedes 4. Jack Blatherwick unable to cut that one off.
Barnard again. No, I'll just take the single. As Paul Shaw will be coming in for the first time today for the men's game. As mentioned, we had the women's game this morning and they beat the UAE women by 15 runs. And the Lancashire men will be hoping to replicate that success. 56 for 3 is currently the score. UAE batting first and Lancashire opting to have a bowl first today. The conditions are getting a lot warmer in what is already a very warm UAE. But it looks like there's a little bit of a breeze at the Seven Stadium in Dubai. Ahmad on strike. Goes straight to the fielder, and it's a decent over from Barnard to start his bowling account. Brings up the end of the over. 57 for 3 after 8 overs. Singh on 7 and Ahmed on 1. What have you made of the UAE start against Lancashire?
I think they made a positive start, didn't they? Initially, and played some good cricket. Had a good first over, clipped a few away through the boundary on the floor and in the air for 4 and such. But I do think that in the last few overs, without doubt, with the wickets that Lancashire have taken, that they've pulled themselves back in the game. And I think at 8 overs, Lancashire now would be pretty happy with the 3 wickets and the UAE being 57 for 3. And of course, it's a wonderful opportunity for the younger players. I mean, Paul Allott said earlier a number of players, senior players, aren't playing. But therefore, it's a wonderful opportunity for some of these young players to perform and perform well on this stage. And then if there's injuries in the first part of the season or going into the T20s, you know, they can stake a claim for a place in that team. So really interesting to see how the youngsters do. And no doubt they will want to finish this section of the tour with a win.
Yeah, it's a good opportunity, as you say. And the opportunity as well to play abroad and experience some different conditions from the indoor school. As Boyden continues bowling here, 59 for 3.
The other thing I probably should say is the coaching staff now have had a good year with the team. We'll be getting to know them pretty well, the strengths and weaknesses. So they'll have really appreciated the time in Dubai and Bangalore with the squad as such, especially with the younger players, to assess where they're at and then really put individualised plans together for them, get them ready for the season.
Boyden once again, and that's just flick behind, heads towards the boundary, but fielding is done.
Noticing. Watching the screen earlier on, there's been a little bit of swing from Wood and Boyden, certainly in the first couple of overs of the game, and we know that the white ball doesn't swing for that long, But interesting to see there was some swing for both left-arm bowlers today.
The aforementioned Boyden, and it's flicked off the pads heading towards the boundary. The fielding's been good. There was obviously the run out earlier.
Yeah, Josh Boyden threw the stumps down, didn't he, from, I think it was at mid-off from memory. He's done that a number of times, actually, Josh. He's really good in that position. Covers the ground really quickly. Low centre of gravity, picks the ball up and quite often throws the stumps down. So, terrific fielder in that area. Been watching, obviously, the women's game this morning, and incidentally, this game is being played on the same pitch, and I think it's a pretty good pitch. This morning, it seemed to go through quite nicely. There's a little bit of bounce in there, so if you bent your back, you could get a bit of bounce. And it was just beginning to offer a little bit of spin, so it'd be interesting as this game goes on, with the weather being so hot, if it grips a little bit more. A good shot there by Singh. Boyden just dropped that one a little bit short, and Singh's been able to get on top of the bounce of that and cut that away through the point region. It is in the air though, so there's risk to that shot, but it's beat the point fielder. I'm going away for a much needed 4 runs for the UAE.
67 for 3. As Boyden continues here.
That's the end of the 9th over, and the current run rate is 7.56 runs per over, with just 11 overs remaining. The Wasp, incidentally, which we find a very useful tool in the comms book, is suggesting 172 in terms of the total. We'll have to wait and see whether that's realistic. Certainly the UAE will be wanting to push on now, and Lancashire will be looking to just keep chipping away and taking wickets to minimise the onslaught that the UAE batters might just look to do.
Yeah, I think they'll be relatively happy with 172. Currently 68 for 3 after 9 overs. I was going to mention from that previous over, 11 came from it. Of course, some were extras, but that's probably one of the bigger overs of the game so far. The run rate still hovering around 7.5.
And what Barnard's looking to do is to minimise that run rate by going around the wicket, the left arm spin bowler going around the wicket and just angling that ball in towards the stumps. There we go. To limit the options of both UAE batters and keep the stumps in play. That therefore LBW and Bold are in play all the time. Certainly a good first 4 balls, isn't it, to the over? It's well bowled again. He's put together a really nice over and just holding his line and his length very well here. There's just a little bit of pressure building on Ahmed.
Barnard will be really happy with that over. Very, very tight. And again, it just builds that pressure.
Yeah, just one off that over, so 69 for 3. And we can see here the run rate. And this is at the Sevens ground in Dubai for all our viewers. but above 9 in that that first over. And then as you can see there, it dipping with the wickets, the 3 wickets, and that's often the case, isn't it, when partnerships are broken and you get new batters at the crease and new partnerships, you often get that dip. And there we go. The over before last was one of the biggest overs as such. So they'll be looking to really push on again a little bit momentum whilst play halts for a little while with a little interval here. It's very, very hot out in Dubai at this stage, so there's an allocated drinks break at 10 overs where the players take on much needed fluids and to stay hydrated in the temperatures of Dubai. And I'm sure there'll be a few nutrients as well that the players take on board. There often is a few sachets with nutrients in them just to ensure that the salts and the minerals is balanced within their bodies. And no doubt they'll be having a few conversations. You can see the captain there who's not playing in this game, Keaton Jennings, an opportunity for other players to captain. Bohannon captaining the team today, and to have a few discussions on plans for the second half of this this UAE innings.
Yeah, I think it's really important as well, particularly with leadership, to give these opportunities to players to say, okay, you're going to captain today. You know, it's succession planning, it's future planning, but also it's just a great opportunity to build those leadership skills, which is so difficult to do unless you actually give that to them in a match situation. So it is really good to see.
Yes, absolutely. I think you're right in what you're saying there. I think because, you know, we can talk about leadership, we can talk off the field with captains and coaches and vice captains and so on, but actually it's only when you're actually in the middle and you're making some of those decisions and have to think to that level, you really understand what it is like. So wonderful opportunity for Bohannon to develop his captaincy skills, and as we've said before, for a number of the young players to be exposed in these type of conditions and learn how to play the game at this level.
So 69 for 3 at the halfway mark. It's lofted into the air and the catch is taken, and there'll be another wicket for Lancashire. They send the UAE 4 down, and a wicket with his first ball for Bletherwick.
And that's a very good catch by Bohannon, the skipper for the day, and a really good start to the bowling spell of Bletherwick, and goes hard into the pitch, and the ball's just got a little bit big on the batter there, but Bohannon's seen the trajectory of that, turned quick, chased the ball down and caught the ball very nicely over his shoulder. That's a very, very good catch. Made that look relatively easy. I can assure you it's not. But what a wonderful catch that was, and another breakthrough just as that partnership was beginning to develop, which means that the UAE are now 69 for 4 off 10.1 overs.
Yeah, that was a really good catch, running forward very, very fast, but also looking up to try and follow the ball, but of course took the catch.
Bletherwick now starts his approach. He comes around the wicket. And Mustafa just plays that one out into the mid-wicket area for no run. Bletherwick's just attacking the angle into the stumps and encouraging the batter just to go slightly across the ball, bringing in again the LBW potential shout and maybe a ball. So I think he'll keep his lines as tight as he possibly can here. we go. And I'm joined in the hot seat with Graham again. Graham, it's lovely to see you. Have you had a cup of tea while you've been waiting?
No, I'm not a tea drinker. Not a tea or coffee drinker. Body's a temple, stick to the water. I was talking about Gary Morgan giving us stats earlier on. Now he's giving us heckles from the gallery.
Blatherwick's made a really good start, hasn't he, to his spell. Wicket with his first ball. 3 dot balls. Just building a little bit of pressure here on the back of the wicket. It's exactly what you want from a fast bowler. Don't give anything away when the new batter comes in. Keep it really tight. Keep all dismissals in play.
Yeah, he's a bowler who's, I was saying this the other day, that he's shown flashes of real promise across all formats. He's had performances in the Championship, done well in the One Day Cup and the T20 as well last year here against Durham when they were bowled out for not many on the opening night of the Blast. He took 3 for. He just now needs to do it more consistently.
Yeah.
That's that's the challenge for him, to progress more consistently across all the formats and nail down that first team spot.
And that's the challenge, I think, isn't it, for a number of young players, or even not so young players. It's that consistency of performance, which is what coaches look for, on a regular basis, really, looking for reliable cricketers that can consistently perform. And it's what everyone wants, I suppose, from a coaching perspective. But he's certainly had some good performances in a number of formats, hasn't he? As you rightly said, this year hopefully he's one of those where he can be really up his game to be a little bit more consistent in the coming months.
Yeah, I do wonder how much he will be in a decent place to hit the ground running, because he's been in Sydney this winter playing club cricket out there. There's been a number of the Lancashire players and players from other counties doing that. George Bell was playing at Randwick Petersham, which they're based at Coogee Oval. Have you been there?
I have, yes.
Lovely spot
Yeah.
down there, isn't it?
It is very nice.
It's like a poor man's Blackpool.
Been impressed with the way Barnard started today. Mustafa's just been able just to work that backward of square for 1 run and rotate the strike. What I like about Barnard is he's really not giving any room at all, is he? Offside, leg side. He's really targeting those stumps and holding his lines and lengths, which is key.
He follows a long line of successful left-arm spinners to have played for this county. Stephen Parry, in recent years, certainly Stephen Parry, Gary Keady, Simon Kerrigan, Tom Hartley, of course, who's in the setup and the squad at the moment. I think he's running drinks today.
I think Stephen Parry's out there, isn't he, at the moment, with the Lancashire women's team as a assistant coach to Chris Reed, with the opportunity to develop the spinners and lead on the spinners' development. And actually you could see that today. And the spinners that bowled in the women's game, you could see that they've made some progress over the winter, which is good to see. And I think it's really good that Lancashire keep some of their ex-players that are developing coaches with a wonderful experience in the game, heavily involved in coaching roles.
We have a delay at the moment for a change of pads. Have you ever worn a gold set of pads before? Have you?
I can't say as I have.
No.
Although I'm looking at that now and thinking, I wonder what they would look like walking the streets of sunny Barnsley, where I come from on a dark grey morning. Might just light up the streets. Not sure I could pull those off. More likely you, Graham.
Oh, I'm not so sure about that. It's been a very good comeback from the Red Rose with the ball. The 3 innings that we've seen so far today have all followed a similar pattern, haven't they? Saying this to Polly. Decent start for Lancashire women that got checked. Decent start for the UAE women that got checked again, and similar here. Another dot for Barnard. "12 overs through, the UAE 73 for 4. Those 4 wickets are on the way.
Let's just have a little look at these. Aspinwall with the ball in for the first one. And a slight miss it. Caught Jones in the cover. This is a great run out. This is Josh Bohannon at mid-off. Picks the ball up nicely and throws the stumps down. And then the played on there. That. And then, of course, we had the wonderful diving catch over his shoulder from the skipper. Picked up the ball well, chased it down, and took a nice catch. Made it look easy, actually, didn't it?
Good change of pace from Blatherwick. Deceives Mustafa, who struggled to get going, really. 2 off 6. This has his partner 4 off 16.
Yeah, the way Lancashire have bowled, certainly the last few overs, has brought the run rate right down, hasn't it? Bowled accurately. And now just mixing the pace up a little bit, which makes it really difficult for any of the batters to line up, any of the bowlers. Just having a look at the run rate, incidentally. It's 5.92 with 7.4 overs remaining. And Wasp is saying 147. That was 170, 175 about 10 minutes ago. So it's coming down.
Yeah, after the first 2 overs, it was
right up there,
200, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Dropped. Jones tidies up. Should have been taken. Josh Boyden.
Mustafa's really hit that ball hard, hasn't he? Broke the infield run on the way all the way for a boundary.
How often do you see that? How often does it happen where there's a drop catch and then next ball, insult added to injury, 4 runs?
Happens on a regular occasion, doesn't it? And rubbing salt into the wounds as such. But Mustafa looks as though he's wanting to go up a gear here. He realises that They need more runs and they need quick runs at this stage, and this might be the over. He's going to try and get a bit of momentum.
Good comeback from Jack Blatherwick.
Yeah, very good comeback. The length. And the other thing to consider here is he can see that Mustafa's wanting to open up the offside, and wants he just slightly back of the length or pretty full, and he's not giving him that ball at the moment, having seen where he did a couple of balls before and worked that one through quite hard through the covers.
Batter's not particularly happy with that decision from the umpire. I thought it was a fair call, to be fair.
Still some conversations with umpires and slightly disgruntled batting pair of Ahmed and Mustafa.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all.
He's got that one through, Mustafa.
Action-packed passage of play at the moment. There's quite a bit going on out there.
He's waiting for that ball, isn't he? He's expecting a short ball there, and he's pulled that away through the leg side for 4 runs, which takes the score to 83 for 4 off 13 with 7 overs left. Ahmed's on 4 off 16, and Mustafa 12 off 11, and he's just beginning to go through the gears a little bit here and see if he can gain a little bit more momentum for his team, the UAE, as Lancashire will be trying to put a halt to that in the next few overs.
I would think a wicket fairly quickly will put paid to the chances of that 153 at Wasp. And there you go. Barnard strikes. And he's impressed you, and he's impressed everybody over the last week and a bit.
Yeah, he certainly looks a good young player. I like the angle he takes around the wicket as he angles the ball into the stumps, and he gives very little room. And it just holds in the pitch slightly there and chip back to Barnard for a simple caught and ball. But Ahmed, unfortunately, hasn't been able to get going today. A simple return catch. But yeah, I think you're right. I think he's performed well, Barnard. And as I say, it's that angle that he's using and how he runs the ball into the stumps. And I think as he starts to just vary his pace a little bit as well, the odd one might just grip, as we saw then. So good young prospect, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen a great deal of him, and I don't know him as an individual, but he just strikes me. Just the impression you get, just an old head on young shoulders. I don't know why. You know, that springs to mind immediately. It's just the way that he's bowled. Seems like he's very, very comfortable. His body language, very, very comfortable in this environment. Struggling to get him away. 1 for 10. In his 4th over. I think 145's optimistic from here as well. Looking at, I think Lancashire will be fairly confident to limit them to around about 130, 135.
It doesn't look easy to get away, does it? I mean, I think it is a decent pitch, as we said earlier, but if you're hard into the pitch, it's just holding slightly for the spinners and just beginning to offer just a little bit. Doesn't look easy to get away and get through the ball off spin.
the outfield is pretty slow. Second wicket in the over for Charlie Barnard. George Bell with a stumping. Easiest of stumpings really, wasn't it? None of them are ever completely straightforward, but as they go, that was relatively simple. No mistake from the young keeper.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent stumping. Mustafa's decided to come down, premeditated this, he's wanting to come down. What I would say is because the ball's bounced over the stumps, and it's probably a yard and a half quicker, that delivery. He just pushed that through a little bit. The keeper got to be switched on, but in the end it was a relatively simple stumping. But a good stumping from the young George Bell. Was of course another good young player that's been playing the last couple of years really, and he's developing, isn't he, both with the gloves and with the bat. Also a useful fielder when he's not got the gloves on.
And bowls a bit of spin as well.
Yeah.
You know, one of those you just every now and again you can just chuck the ball to if needed. Good job, we got bat on that.
It is. It's good. Another good delivery from Barnard. And,
fantastic spell, 2 for 12.
Yeah, it's an incredible spell, isn't it? Off his allotted overs for the young left arm. He's bowled tremendously well this morning in the heat of Dubai. And just going back to what you said about George Bell, the wicketkeeper. You know, Carl Cricken's done a fantastic job at the club with the wicket keepers. You know, there's a number of good young wicket keepers that Carl's been working with over the last few years, so there's no doubt he's done a phenomenal job with those young keepers, hence the production line of keepers and keeper batters for that matter that are coming through out the academy second team and towards that first team. So good job there.
Tidy piece of work from the man in question, George Bell.
I don't think there's been too many boundaries in the last few overs. I'm going to make a prediction, actually. I'm going to say 2 in the last 33 balls. What do you reckon? What's your prediction?
I think you might be right. It's another Gary Morgan special. Who's just said 34 now. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. Very good. Very good.
He does a good job. Very good job. He's Lancashire's first team scorer this year. I know he's really looking forward to that job. After the retirement of Chris Rimmer at the back end of last season.
There's a wide ball. Just he's off there with his lines, trying to reduce the scoring rate further with a bouncer, but a little bit wayward by Blatherick. As the score moves on to 87 for 6, 14.2.
Yeah, a couple of seasons as second team scorer, moved up to the first. Singles are not going to hurt Lancashire at this stage.
No way at all. And the challenge is because the UAE have lost wickets on a relatively frequent basis. They've not been able to build any type of partnership, and again there's a new partnership just being formed here, isn't it? So not easy for them. Run rate has now come down to 6.07 as Blatherick comes into ball again. Been impressed with Blatherick's lines and his lengths generally. 1 for 15 off 2.4 so far. Very tight lines. We talked about Barnard's tight lines, didn't we? Really tight into the stumps and not giving any room for the batters. It just does bring in more dismissals, doesn't it? The batter makes an error, you're in the game, and it's also difficult to score off those types of deliveries. I think Blatherick's bowled well, and Barnard too, with the lines and the lengths generally.
Miscued out to mid-wicket. You often see, don't you, that extra pace kind of utilised through the middle of an innings so often in T20. If you can get that roll right, sets you up perfectly for the back end as a bowling unit.
It certainly does. And if you go all the way back to when England won the World Cup, England men's team, is it 2019? I know it's 50 over cricket, but Liam Plunkett played a really important role, didn't he? Bowling pace and back of the length in that middle phase.
Absolutely,
of the game.
yeah.
So it's transferable T20 cricket and 50 over cricket. It limits scoring and it's still a wicket-taking threat, isn't it?
Since been playing for the USA, Liam Plunkett. Lives out there in, I think it's Philadelphia.
$15 overs gone here at the Dubai Sevens ground, where the UAE are taking on Lancashire men, and scores 91 for 6 with just 5 overs remaining of this first innings.
Ollie Sutton gets his first crack of the whip in this game. Encouraged in India last week. Heading into his first summer as a fully contracted pro.
So that's 3 left-arm seamers playing in this game. Left-arm spinner. Have I missed anyone? I'm just thinking left-arm. It's quite rare to have that amount of
that kind of angle, yeah.
That angle, and you know, left-armers all playing in the same game, which is great. I think it presents and each of them are different bowlers for that matter. But that left-arm angle, quite like.
Of course, you've got Tom Hartley as well on the sidelines. I was out. there was an appeal from George Bell behind the stumps, and no appeal from Sutton, who just walked back to his mark. So 7th wicket goes down. UAE 91 for 7, and Lancashire have this game by the scruff of the neck. There's no reaction from Sutton at all, which is rare. Bell knew straight away. So did the umpire. That's the most important thing. As Paul Allott returns to the commentary sofa.
91 for 7. It's good performance by Lancashire. I think they'll be wishing they batted first, to be fair. Because when all's said and done, I'm not looking too far ahead with my crystal ball, but the target won't be too out of their reach, I don't think, but it's a good performance with the ball so far. Graham's gone, Polly's coming in a minute. So 7 down. Sutton into the attack with a wicket second ball. Jack Blatherwick came in and got a wicket with his first ball of his spell. So Ollie Sutton again, left arm. A little bit of extra pace from Ollie Sutton. We saw that in earlier in the week when he was bowling in Bengaluru. Had a good day so far, Polly. Girls did well, didn't they?
They did very well, yeah. They had a bit of a comeback. It looked like at one point it might slip away from them, but no, they did well. An early start this morning. I think my alarm was about 4 a.m. So it's a miracle I'm still awake.
Oh, that's gone now as well. Just a thin edge on the way through to George Bell, looking to steer that down to fine third. George Bell taking a good catch. So 8 down, Sutton takes 2 in 4, and the UAE innings subsiding. Just 15 overs and 4 balls bowled.
Yeah, that was a good catch. He had to leap to get that. He's not the tallest of wicket keepers, but very agile. So it's a very good take. And Lancashire really are on top here.
Yeah, they'll be mightily pleased with the way that things are going. They didn't have 2 of the greatest games out in Bengaluru, although don't put too much stock by what happens in these pre-season friendlies. It's just a question of basically getting yourself a little bit acclimatised, used to being out in the middle again. Conditions look really good out in Dubai. Warm, of course, a little bit of a breeze.
.91 for 8. There's final 2 wickets remaining. Plenty of time to do it, but I imagine Lancashire want to try and wrap it up as soon as possible. Maybe keep the UAE under 100.
Yeah, that'd be a good target, wouldn't it? Keep them under 100. I think that might have just come off glove, or was it helmet?
Yeah, I think it was glove or even
leg bar he's given.
Wrist.
I think it did hit him on the head, actually. No damage done, thank goodness.
Regardless, a very good over from Sutton so far. Of course, the 2 wickets coming from it.
Pulled away, first runs off the bat from Sutton's first over. So, great start from Ollie Sutton. 2 wickets for 1 run in that over. 93 for 8 from 16.
It's fantastic. You can ask for much better. End of the 16th over. 93 for 8. And Lancashire are in prime position to take the game away. And 4 overs remaining. Not 100% sure about the Wasp of 118, but you never know. If all 4 overs are played out, then it is definitely achievable. But these 2 wickets look quite close.
Well, looks like a little bit of tail end batting in evidence. Bit of a swing across the line. There might be a little bit too much pace from Blatherwick and Sutton. The runner ball would be good if they can aim for that, the UAE. Then going to get towards 115. Took some pace off that, did Jack Blatherwick, and it's been launched into the outfield onto one of the pergolas, and that's a huge 6.
Yeah, you said a runner ball and then 6 has come flying. That's a really good shot.
Yeah,
power.
Bowlers get sort of tempted to bowl their variations at this stage, regardless of who's at the crease. And you look at numbers 9 and 10 or in at the moment, when you've got a bit of pace like Blatherwick has, you've got to stick to first principles, really. Oh, and he's got hold of that one. And that's 6 more. Swung away over the leg side. So, really good performance this by Zhishan. Consecutive 6s. That was out of the back of the hand. George Bell thumping his thigh in frustration.
As you say, perhaps more of a stock ball would be effective in this scenario, and the Wasp has moved up to 128, so 117 actually seems quite measly compared to what they could be doing. Those 6s have made the difference.
Well, that's what happens when you bowl a conventional delivery at a number 10. He'll swing and miss. A little bit of extra pace.
$105 for 8. 2 balls left in this over.
Yeah, we'll get it up to 120, and you're obviously to run a ball, but that gives the UAE something to bowl at.
Again, a swing and a miss. It's much more effective by Blatherwick.
Well, he's got to finish off well now, having been hit for 2 6s earlier in the over. Finish with a decent last delivery. Good finish. Yorker on off stump just outside, provides the dot ball. So just those 2 towering 6s off the over, which won't please Blatherwick or maybe Josh Bohannon, that come back well as Jack Blatherwick with 3 dots towards the end of the over. His 4 overs have cost him 29, and he got a wicket with the first ball that he bowled.
Yeah, good recovery within that over. After it looked like potentially the UAE could do a bit of damage at the end. 3 overs remaining, 105 for 8.
Ollie Sutton again with his second over of his spell. Been held back a bit to bowl towards the end. Starting with a slower ball there.
Of course, very, very impactful in his first over.
That extra pace of Sutton proving difficult. Too quick for the number 10, Dhruv. got a hold of that. How well has he got hold of it? Well enough. Into the grass, terracing for 6. So he took up the challenge after the short ball, the previous one, and has middled that. The last 3 scoring shots by the UAE have all been 6s.
That was miles past the boundary, all the way up the grassy bank. And it's not what Lancashire would have wanted in their final few overs.
Oh, and again, short and pulled away. Only 1 this time. Down to deep backward square. George Bell busy behind the stumps, just marshalling the fielders, getting the angles just right. Josh Bohannon out on the boundary. Be a wide. Yeah, no question.
Since the last wicket, the UAE have piled on 20+ runs. It looked like they could have been bowled out very quickly after that. The momentum was really in Lancashire's hands, but they've pulled it back a little bit. A couple of 6s, and that's really made the difference to that score. It looks slightly more competitive than what was before.
Sutton looking to pitch that up and bowl the Yorker. He's been hit away for 2 onto the leg side. Up to 115, so that 117 that we were questioning is going to go screaming past it.
Yeah.
There's a little bit in this pitch. We've seen the ball swing earlier, and then there's a little bit of seam as well. A little bit of bounce in addition to all of that. It's well bowled from Sutton, full and on middle stump. Dug out. Got a single. End of Sutton's second over. 2 overs remaining. 116 for 8.
The Wasps saying 132. If these two continue hitting 6s, they'll probably easily surpass 132. But they are very aware of those 2 wickets which remain.
So Tom Aspinwall, who took the new ball, coming back at the end to bowl just 1 more over. Lancashire wanting to finish things off here. Fallen wide outside off stump. It's a free hit almost for Abid. Picks up a single and just goes to have a chat with his partner. Not an awful lot they can say to each other at this stage. 11 balls left. I suppose try and use up every delivery, or that'd be about it.
Yeah, or just give it a whack.
Or just give it a whack, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, hit some more 6s, send it up onto the grassy banks.
Flat batted over extra cover. That's a really solid strike, and that's gone for 4. Too much width from Aspinwall, and solidly hit.
Yeah, good choice of shot. Over the fielders, found the gap and raced away quite easily.
So it's a spirited 9th wicket partnership, this. 30 runs from just 16 balls. Will please the UAE, but not please the Lancashire hierarchy or the bowlers. Short again, be an easy single.
Probably the sort of partnership they would have wanted to see a little bit further up the order. Obviously started well, but had a little bit of a collapse in the middle. Have managed to pull it back, to be fair on them. 122 for 8.
That's in the slot and smack straight and high and far for 6 more.
Another confident 6 from the UAE there.
Yeah, Tom Aspinwall's a young bowler, but he's got experience in short form cricket. He's picked up by the Manchester Originals in the 100. And he'll know, or he should know, that bowling length balls at this stage of the innings to anybody is going to ask to be hit. Might be as a slower bouncer. I don't know whether it's been given as a wide. Just one for the over, no wide. Bowls a mean Yorker, does Tom Aspinwall. It's one of the features of his bowling. I haven't seen any today.
Final ball of his spell.
Picked up and, well, it's a flamboyant effort.
He made a bit of a deal of that.
Did he ever? It was a double juggle. Bit of hopping around. Is that Charlie Barnard? I think it is. He's giving it out himself. Well, he would do, wouldn't he?
After all of that. I mean, I thought he had it the second time, but clearly had to rebalance or something to take the catch. But the catch is eventually taken. UAE go 9 down.
Let's have another look at this. Worth looking at. It was very nearly over the rope. Threw it up. Bit of overbalancing. Threw it up again. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think he was going to fall forward again, hence throwing it back. But it's quite impressive to catch it 3 times. One over remaining. 128 for 9. It looks like it will be Wood to bowl the final over.
Yeah, Aspinall finished 4 overs, 2 for 33. Be happy with the wicket off the final ball of his spell. Maybe not so happy with the 4 and the 6 that he was hit for earlier in the over. So Luke Wood to finish off. UAE 9 down. They'll be wanting to get as many as they can off the final 6 balls and use all those 6 balls up. Wood holding the ball cross seam round the wicket. Dot ball to start. Well, UAE will be much happier than they were a few overs ago when they were 90 for 8, 128 for 9 now.
Yeah, it looked at one point they wouldn't get over 100, so they'll be chuffed with 128.
It's good bowling from Luke Wood following the batter as he looked to give himself room to hit through the offside. Tucked up with a Yorker way wide of leg stump. Number 11 on strike. Left-handed Akram. Well, full and straight is often the way to go to number 11. That's been carved over backward point. Wanted 2, and it's going to be a simple run out, and that is the end of the innings. So all sorts of confusion in the UAE ranks in the final over. Akram carving that away over backward point. Wanted 2. Dhruv said, no, come on, I need to take the last 4 balls of this innings. Smiles all round from the Lancashire fielders. And it was an ignominious end.
130 all out. Confusion causing the last wicket. And Lancashire, I'm sure, will be quite happy with that total. Of course, they would have wanted to restrict the UAE even more. They were in prime position to do so. But those 6s at the end, and some nice shots to get some 4s as well, really helped the UAE reach that 130, which isn't a huge total. I think Lancashire are quite happy, will be quite happy with that total there.
Yeah, I think so.
The work they've done.
I mean, it's a little bit more challenging now at 131 than it was when UAE were 90 for 8, but it was a good 9th wicket partnership, and Lancashire will have a short break now, of about 15 minutes before they look to chase that total down. Already got the openers up on the graphic for you, Bell and Fonseca. So we'll be back in 10 minutes or so to see how Lancashire get on chasing down that total of 131 that posted by the UAE.
When I was a kid, there was no professional women's cricket. I didn't even think that women could be professional sports people.
Especially early on, it just didn't really seem like there was a career in it.
To support myself around cricket, I had to work at the petrol garage.
I was the only girl, so I stood out.
I'd love for young girls to be able to dream about being an athlete and it to be achievable.
Thanks to the Hilton funding my contract, it's allowed me to play the game that I love all day, every day.
We're like an engine and we need to be fueled with the right gas.
Without funding, we can't be visible. You can't be what you can't see.
As a team, it feels like we're breaking boundaries.
Thunder and Lancashire always want to put women's cricket at the forefront, and now I think that's really shining through.
It's mad to think that without the Hilton funding, like, we wouldn't be playing cricket every day, training.
Well, we could be, but we wouldn't have any money.
We wouldn't, yeah, true.
Welcome to the opening day. Oh, that is a wonderful shot.
(1864). We were first class then, and we're first class now. With a dream to spread cricket through Lancashire's towns, where girls and boys, with willow and leather, become more than a badge, but the red rose together.
A club where more than legends are made, but friendships, obsessions, moments replayed on our screens, in our minds, in our hearts forever.
Because it's who we are, our DNA, the red rose together.
Statham, Briggs, Jimmy, Freddie and Joss Chappie, Sir Clive Lloyd, Carol Hodges, Kate Cross. What a roll call. It's a hard one to measure, with future names still to be written on the red rose together.
We're all about people. It's what the red rose really means. Yeah, the ones signing autographs, but the ones behind the scenes.
Our community, grassroots, the ones that feel tethered. Whether you're from here or belong here, we're the red rose together.
And what about this place? Talk about world-class venues, internationals, gigs, Events. You can choose from a menu of triumph, of disaster, of pain, or pleasure.
We've seen it all at Emirates Old Trafford, with the Red Rose together.
Red ball, white ball, lightning and thunder.
Have you ever sat back? Have you ever just wondered how far we've come? The storms we've weathered, or how far we'll go as the red rolls together.
I'm Charlie Barnard and this is 5 things about me. First cricketing memory was playing indoors when I was about 8. It was like 8 balls and over, but playing in whites, that was my first memory. Playing for Newton Cricket Club. I don't think I really had a cricketing hero, but one person I always remember watching was Pazza. I mean, he's a Lancashire legend. I've done a lot of work with him, so. Got to be Emirates Old Trafford, but Friday night under the lights at Taunton was also quite good. Definitely signing my first professional contract at Lancs. That was always a dream of mine, and then here I am. Also playing for the England 19s at the World Cup. I mean, I've been before, but Bangalore's a lot better than the place we went to last year. It's just hot, but I quite like Indian food, so, you know, it suits me.
When I was a kid, there was no professional women's cricket. I didn't even think that women could be professional sports people.
Especially early on, it just didn't really seem like there was a career in it.
To support myself around cricket, I had to work at the petrol garage.
I was the only girl, so I stood out.
I'd love for young girls to be able to dream about being an athlete and it to be achievable.
Thanks to the Hilton funding my contract, it's allowed me to play the game that I love all day, every day.
We're like an engine and we need to be fuelled with the right gas.
Without funding, we can't be visible. You can't be what you can't see.
As a team, it feels like we're breaking boundaries.
Thunder and Lancashire always want to put women's cricket at the forefront, and now I think that's really shining through.
It's mad to think that without the Hilton funding, like, we wouldn't be playing cricket every day, training.
Well, we could be, but we wouldn't have any money.
We wouldn't, yeah, true.
Welcome back to Emirates Old Trafford. We're commentating for you sitting here in our rather plush studio on events happening out in Dubai. It's a T20 game between Lancashire and the UAE. UAE have batted first and made 130. They were struggling a little bit most of the way through their innings, but a spirited 9th wicket partnership got them up to 130. And whilst that target might not sound too challenging, there's still plenty in the pitch, and it will be an interesting 20 overs or so for Lancashire to chase that down. These are the wickets that fell earlier. Brilliant run out this from Josh Bohannon off the bowling of Tom Aspinwall, and then a flurry of wickets in the middle of the innings. Paul Shaw's alongside me. Paul, you impressed with the Lancashire fielding and out cricket today?
Yeah, very much so. I think Josh Bohannon, especially with the run out, which he's done a number of times, hasn't he, from mid-off in the past, he's like lightning there. But I think the bowling of Barnard's been exceptional in this game and built pressure and pressure and pressure. And as you can see here, the wickets that were falling in regular intervals. A good catch by the young George Bell there. But it was the consistent breakthrough. And look at this for a catch. Well, he made a meal of that, but I'll tell you what, that's a 9.5, isn't it? If you
it is.
But all in all, I think it's been a pretty good fielding and bowling performance by Lancashire. They'll be slightly disappointed with that 9th wicket partnership, Paul, because I think other than that, they were very, very much in the box seat. I think they still are. But they'll want to make sure they make a good start in this power play and play with real positive intent, I would have thought, when they go out to bat.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of indeterminate totals to chase, isn't it? You don't quite know whether, in normal T20 fashion, you're going to go at it from ball one and try and play as many shots as you can, or whether you just look to steady yourself down and accumulate the total. It's young, relatively inexperienced Lancashire lineup. George Bell and Kesh Fonseca. It's not Tom Bailey, it's Kesh Fonseca who will open the batting. Then Bohannon, who's the most experienced, of course, coming as captain, coming in at 3. George Balderson at 4. Michael Jones, plenty of experience there too, at 5. Luke Wood, Jack Blatherwick, Aspinwall, Boyden, Sutton and Barnard make up the 11. So there'll be an onus on that top 5 to break the back of this innings. I think there'll be a challenge from UAE in terms of spin bowling. And it's uncharted territory for the likes of Kesh Fonseca, who's not played much T20 cricket, certainly none in the first team.
And of course, as you say, 2 relatively inexperienced batters at the top of the order. I quite like to see one with a little bit more experience, so he brings that youngster on. But again, wonderful opportunity. George Bell does have some experience. Obviously, he's played the last couple of years for Lancashire, and he's a good young player. But it'd be interesting to see how Fonseca goes in this power play.
It's a multicoloured attack in terms of shirts, anyway, from the UAE. Here we go, first ball of the innings. Met with a very correct forward defensive stroke from George Bell.
What do you think to the pitch, Paul?
Well, I don't know. I didn't think Lancashire, to be perfectly honest, I didn't think the seam bowlers bowled particularly consistently on it. There's always this underlying thought from bowlers in T20 now to bowl with variation. And sometimes it pays you to just look at the conditions and the conditions of the pitch and the atmospherics and whatever before you look at bowling those variations. I mean, we saw a little bit of swing, didn't we, early on? I think there's enough in the pitch to make it not difficult, but to cause the batsman reason to just think about how they play. I think there'll be a little bit in it. And if you bowl, again, in inverted commas, conventionally, I think that might reward you. We'll soon find out. Lancs are away. Bell off the mark with a nudge onto the leg side.
One thing I think is important, and I'm pleased to see the way that Bell's looking to score there, isn't he? The ball's not quite in the slot to go for a boundary option, but it certainly is to rotate strike. And if these two can run hard, build a little bit of pressure on that ring field, put the bad one away, then I would think that would be their way of playing through this power play.
So Kesh Fonseca on strike then for the first time. Had a disappointing time in his 2 innings in Bengaluru. Got 4 and sadly a duck on in the last game. A highly promising youngster. Played age group cricket for England and Lancashire all the way through. Product of Bolton School. He's been on Lancashire's books, as it were, since the age of 12. That's a wide. Just wide of that blue line.
And it's nice to see and good to see players that are a product of the Lancashire age groups, the academy and such, coming through into this first team. And of course, on this tour, there's a number of young players that's been given the opportunity to play in these games and earn much needed experience and exposure to the game at this level. Shot.
Good shot from Fonseca. The check drive down the ground. Don't think it'll have enough on it to go for 4. Just clawed back. He'll pick up at least 2.
Excellent shot this, Paul, isn't it?
Mm.
I love his balance here as he lets the ball come to him. Plays the ball under his eyes with the full back face. Straight through the line of the ball.
Good sound effect, Shawsey. I like that.
Lovely controlled shot. That.
But it was a really nice way to get off the mark with a couple. Straight back past the bowler.
See, that for me, Paul, is low risk, high reward cricket, isn't it? And
yeah.
The way you play the game.
That's gone up in the air. I don't know whether there's a fielder going to be underneath that. No, got away with it. It's only a single. It's high on the bat and a bit of a top edge. First over done. 5 without loss then. Lancashire in pursuit of 131.
Yeah, it was certainly a top edge, just to get onto him a little quicker than he expected there, didn't it?
Well, yeah, you know, you asked me about the pitch. I think there's a little bit of variable bounce. And, that may have just bounced a little bit more than Fonseca thought. May have got onto him a bit quicker than he thought as well. But that single, albeit slightly misjudged, has kept him the strike.
For people just tuning in, the target of 131 for the Lancashire men's team. UAE batting first in this game out in Dubai at the Sevens Stadium.
So Qureshi with his left arm over into Fonseca, whipped away off his pads for a single to deep square.
Nicely timed away there from Fonseca. Ball just going down leg side, and he was onto it pretty quickly and just clipped that one away through the square leg.
George Bell on strike then. Nicely played for no reward. Can't hit it much straighter than that. Shattering the stumps at the bowler's end.
Current run rate 4.50, required run rate not a problem at all at this stage of the game, 6.70.
It'll be a wide down the leg side. Keeper can't gather it. They'll run one as well.
I was saying earlier, Paul, when I was on with Graham, that there's a number of wicket keepers being produced by this club, hasn't there, over the last few years? Good young wicket keepers, and Carl Cricken, I think, has had a pretty heavy involvement in their development. which is really pleasing, I think, for the club.
Yeah, they've developed well, but they all tend to come along at once, don't they? You know, like Bell and Hurst on the books. That's another wide, swinging away down the leg side. Akram had an ignominious little innings just before the break, got himself run out by 22 yards, and he's just started a little waywardly with his left arm over deliveries. Those last two swinging away for wides. In the air, but not carrying to mid-on. Just a little bit loose from Fonseca.
Just looking a bit eager there, isn't he? Just hands just got slightly ahead there.
You let the ball. I don't know whether the ball stopped on him a little bit. You've got to let it come onto you, the touch.
Nice breeze developing there across the ground, just to cool things down a little.
That's a lovely stroke. Just clipped off his toes through straight mid-wicket for 4. A really good boundary. And a well-controlled and ordered stroke.
Yeah, lovely shot this. He's let that ball come on, hit it under his eyes and just timed that ball away wide of deep mid-wicket for a beautifully timed 4 runs.
It's the 3rd wide of the over.
Akram's just struggling a little bit here, isn't he? A little bit erratic.
Missed out on the pull. Stayed a little bit low. I think that sums up the pitch, doesn't it? There's a bit of variation in bounce.
It just didn't come on or bounce quite as high as he thought it was going to do, and just went under the underside of Fonseca's back. Long over this one, isn't it?
It's not what you need, is it, in one-day cricket? Extra balls. I mean, the odd wide, I suppose you're going to get anyway, but not really expecting 3 in your first over. Fonseca again just working that away to short fine leg for a single. So a productive over for Lancashire, 10 from it, 15 without loss from 2. They're well on the way.
Yes, and this Fonseca looks a good prospect. It's clearly early days, but he looks in good touch. Gets into pretty good positions. I like his balance. One thing I have noticed, Paul, is whether his head just slightly goes a little to the offside. It's something to be aware of, and I'm sure the coaching staff are working with him on that. But he does look a good prospect for sure. Times the ball beautifully.
Dominated age group cricket. And now it's his opportunity to step up in the senior ranks. Dominating the strike as well. George Bell's only faced four balls. Fonseca on strike again. Good call from George Bell, good running.
Very good awareness from Bell, that, wasn't it? Very good.
Yeah, just nudged, almost dropped that ball by Fonseca down to backward point. Bell very quick to call for the run. Probably wants a bit of strike, to be fair.
But it's so important to have that intent to score, isn't it? If the boundaries aren't there, can I drop and run, get down the other end?
That's it. Push firmly this time off the back foot from George Bell. Went too quickly to mid-off for any chance of a run. Too short, but still pulled away by Bell. Come back quickly for 2.
It's good cricket when you're putting pressure on the outfield. It's good picking singles up, but also see if you can pick up as many twos as you can by hitting pockets in the outfield. Pretty important.
And again, flicked away on the leg side. They'll look for 2 again. Get them comfortably. They might even come back for 3 here.
I think it could be out.
Well, could be out here. They're running for 3, and Fonseca's ended up in a heap at the keeper's end. And he's short of his ground. George Bell obviously wanting 3. Fonseca, not quite sure who called who, but it's a misunderstanding, and it's the fall of the first wicket. We might get a better idea here. It was good work from bowler and keeper. From a poor throw as well to the middle of the wicket.
Yeah, bowler did a great job there, didn't he? Recovering that ball, throwing into the key. Showed real good awareness. That's the key there. Disappointing for Fonseca because he was looking good. But Bell there saw the angle and was really pushing hard for the 3.
Not what those two would have wanted or expected. Mark Chilton and Keaton Jennings. And your run-outs always happen. Let's have another look at this. It's good work as Fonseca falls in a heap. Shame for him. Quite sure how the calling and the running went.
But nevertheless, it brings his skipper out, Josh Bohannon, captain in this game. Comes to the crease, 20 for 1 off 2.4 overs.
Yeah, just the sort of breakthrough you want as a fielding side and desperately try to avoid as a batting unit when you're chasing a moderate total. Don't want to gift the opposition a wicket, and that's what Lancashire have done. Yeah, Bohannon on strike. Taking the time to get the field right. Bohannon about to face his first ball then. Confidently away with a steer into the leg side, just one there.
Clipped away nicely. Run rate at the moment 7.41. Required run rate 6.41. But these two will certainly be wanting to build a partnership. Yes, back with intent, but let's build a partnership first and foremost.
Dot ball to finish. 11 from Qureshi's first 2 overs. 21 for 1 from 3. Just in case you're switching on, UAE all out for 130. Well, not sure whether that's a 7 ball over or what, or whether we've missed a wide, but something doesn't look quite right about all that. Gary Morgan has just said it was a 7 ball over. No wonder he's sitting down. He's tired after bowling 7 balls. So a bonus couple of runs. For Lancashire, 23 for 1 after 3. Hannon in need of runs, really. I mean, it's easy for you to say that at the start of the summer on a pre-season trip, but he's had two innings and not got out of single figures in the games in Bengaluru.
Yeah, it'll be important to him and the batting unit that if he can get in some nick whilst on this tour, the back end of this tour accepted, then comes back on that plane in a much better place mentally and confidence-wise.
Yeah, I mean, you don't put too much stock in it, but it's always good to get a few runs or wickets under your belt early doors. So introduction of spin then, still in the power play. Left arm round. And you would say that if Bohannon had a, well, I won't say it's a weakness, but he prefers early in his innings anyway to be facing seam. Got bolted through the gate in the last game in Bengaluru by the slow left arm spinner. Gets a bonus run there from a misfield.
Spin, left arm spin in particular throughout both games today has been relatively successful. But I think it's that angle and obviously that pace and onto the stumps makes it quite difficult to get away on this pitch.
Well, in fact, both these batters got out in the last game, bowled through the gate by slow left arm, playing for turn when there wasn't any.
Plus you can't make an error, can you, because it's all dismissals are in play, aren't they?
Yeah,
You ball that line.
That's right. Just run it on into the pads.
There.
Well, yeah. So he's looking to play with a little bit of a closed face, steer it on the leg side. It's not a good shot to play against left arm spinner. You're just playing a sort of indeterminate stroke against the spin.
Yeah, you end up playing the angle, don't you?
Well, that's a bit proactive, isn't it? Stride down and across towards the offside and swept away from way outside off stump.
A positive shot this, isn't it? It gets outside the line of the off stump, across the ball. Yeah, going back to what we were saying before, it's interesting. Once you work out on that angle that it's not spinning, you end up then getting pulled in and playing on that angle and just turning the face. And it only has to hold slightly.
Yeah.
And you're in trouble as a batter, aren't you?
You are. Or skid through a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
That was quicker and flatter. I'm not surprised after being swept over square leg for 4. 5 off Ali's first over, 28 for 1, 4 gone. Run rate is good from Lancashire's perspective.
Bell and Bohannon looking to build a partnership here, but showing real intent. Certainly Bell is, and knowing Bohannon as I do, they'll be looking to play positive cricket. Very important still that they build this partnership and don't go too high risk too early. And there's a lot of time in this game. And an opportunity, of course, for them both to get into some form, isn't it?
Yeah. So another change of bowling. Stafford on with his off spin, I think. Good running that. Come back for 2. Shrug of the shoulders from the bowler, who didn't really appreciate the fielding from his deep long on.
Worked well this by Bell, wasn't it? Just worked into that gap, saw the gap, saw the pocket and run hard. Picked 2 up.
Hit firmly into the ground that time, no chance.
It's like he's really looking for gaps to run to. Belly. Seems a smart cricketer, Paul. You spent much time with him.
Well, yeah, I mean, he started his cricket at Alderley Edge and Manchester Grammar, so I've seen him play a bit of club cricket over the years, the last 4 or 5 years. He's always been a very determined character. Yeah, gutsy player. It's a big year for him, this, because he's had a couple of years in and around the first team. There's just a suspicion that his technique's a little bit loose around and around off stump. Suspicion from the old bowler in me, as much as anything else. So 5 overs gone, 33 for 1. Bohannon on 3, Bell on 15. Paul Shaw's going to make way for Graham Hardcastle in a minute. Stafford's first over, just costing 5 as the Lancashire batters and 12th and 13th men relax in the outfield. Michael Jones with the pads on, Tom Hartley with the blues on. Social afternoon out in Dubai. Run rate good. Bohannon gives himself room, picks up another single. Graham's here now. Steady start.
Yeah, solid.
Apart from the run out.
Yeah.
Apart from the run out. He likes that, does George Bell, getting outside off stump and swinging the ball away. Half sweep, half pull. Gets him a single this time. It's a flowing stroke from Bohannon through extra cover. Not bothering to run for that as the ball scurries away over the outfield and over the rope for 4.
Where do you think Josh Bohannon sits in terms of Lancashire's T20 side? Do you think
it's a good question. He's never, well, I want to say never, he's not really been in consideration as a one-day but short form T20 player. But I don't see there's any reason why he shouldn't be. He's got all the shots. He plays aggressively in championship cricket. I don't see any reason why he couldn't make a name for himself in T20.
He's shown signs of dominance, hasn't he, in 50 over cricket in the last couple of years. A couple of really big hundreds. You know, he's never going to be one who, for example, is like a Liam Livingstone, who is just power to burn, but he's not short of it either.
No, I consider him a traditional type of batter, because that's the way he's developed as an upper order traditional type of player. He's never really gone in for the flamboyance of one day shots, although he's showing us here that he quite clearly can play them. He's given himself room. He's then smashed that away over long on for 4. So, hence my evaluation that there's no reason why he can't make a name for himself in T20 cricket. It's just a further development for him in terms of his batting skills.
Yeah, I wonder whether, you know, a kind of a place at like number 4 or 5 would be quite decent for him, where hopefully your openers get off to a decent start, and he can build on that platform through the middle, really.
Yeah. I mean, I feel for him a little in terms of his development, because he was on the cusp of getting selected in the England red ball scene Test match squad.
I mean, there was the famous
2 or 3 years ago.
Wasn't he?
Was it
called,
the West Indies?
Yeah, wasn't he called by a
journalist saying
he'd been selected?
congratulations, and he didn't get the nod. And of course, the change in regime has brought about a requirement for batters to do different things, and he's not that type of player. He's not a Crawley, for instance, or a Duckett. Doesn't play that way. So he's really been pushed back to square one in terms of where he is in his development and his aspiration to play international cricket anyway. So expanding on his repertoire and becoming a better T20 cricketer would maybe bring him back into the selectors' thinking.
Yeah. I think he's such a resourceful cricketer, you know, when you...
Very determined.
Yeah, when you look at this tour, I mean, we've seen him be a live wire in the field, haven't we? He's obviously got leadership attributes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. He's got a big career ahead of him, even though he's played quite a bit already.
Well, he's been given extra responsibility in the last 18 months or so, hasn't he, with the vice-captaincy. That was never really on the horizon before then. So he's matured as an individual. He was very almost self-centred, looked in on himself an awful lot. But he's become much more rounded as an individual. And obviously that's been spotted, and these things work both ways, don't they? You know, given the extra responsibility and the fact that he's got to look after some individuals in his role as vice captain and captain, gives him a different sort of aspect and outlook on the way his career and his batting should go.
I do wonder, actually. I mean, I've spoken to him loosely about this topic in the last couple of years, but I do wonder how big an influence Glenn Maxwell will have had on him, because they're quite close mates, aren't they?
Yeah, well, he did when Maxwell was here in his year as overseas player for Lancashire. Josh looked up to Glenn, and Glenn gave him an awful lot of advice, both on and off the field, I think. Sometimes Maxie gets a bit carried away, or he did then. But it was all good. They were virtually inseparable at the time. But Hannah and Josh was a youngster then, very much so.
And you know, so I've spoken to him loosely on that subject, but I haven't really delved into it. Like, do they still talk now about the game? How close are they? In terms of advice and things like that, experiences?
Well, I don't know is the simple answer to that. How I would think generally cricketing friendships and relationships develop, even though they may not be part of the same team anymore, they'll still be in touch. I mean, Maxwell has had a wonderful international career and franchise career. He's the self-dubbed Big Show, and plays some fantastic innings and bowls some great spells.
Yeah, and you were obviously talking him up last week, weren't you?
Well, I wanted him to be part of Lancashire. You know, if you can try and get a relationship with an overseas player, somebody as good as him, then I think it's worth pursuing. But it just didn't work for us at the time.
Yeah. Well, these two both closing in on the 20s. Bell 19, Bohannon 18, 52 for 1 in the 8th. Target of 131 is well within Lancashire's grasp.
Yeah, it's looking relatively simple at the moment. Keeping well up with the run rate, that's always important. It doesn't matter what score you're chasing. If you're up with the run rate, then you're virtually in control. And it's important to do that even though you're chasing a relatively low score. Bit of a Q ender from George Bell. Better than a Q ender. Just slapped straight back past the bowler for 4.
Initially, I was with you actually.
Yeah.
Initially, I didn't think he timed it well at all. But
yeah, it's a flat bat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just a flat bat shot.
Just expecting mid-off to come around and cut it off, but no.
Repeat.
That was what I was expecting to have happened first.
Yeah, the flat bat drive. Well, it's effective. He's picked up 5 runs from it anyway in the last couple of deliveries. Last ball of the 8th over. Well, no, it's not now because it was a wide down the leg side. Running just dropped into the offside and off they scuttle for a single. 59 for 1 from 8. I'll take my leave and leave you in the capable hands of Graham for a minute or two as Polly comes in.
Yeah, Bell and Bohannon have recovered things nicely from the early departure of Kesh Fonseca, run out for 10. The two Bs have both got starts, got themselves set at the crease, and now we'll be looking to make big contributions and wrap this game up comfortably. Busy batting from Bohannon. Works that into the leg side for another single.
Yeah, this is good from Bell and Bohannon. 60 for 1, which is ahead of where the UAE were. That target of 131 within the sights of Lancashire, having bowled well against the UAE in the first innings.
Got down early to play that reverse sweep and almost had to wait on it. Comfortable in the end. Looks like it could well be a double winning day for the Red Rose.
Yeah, definitely. They looked a little bit uncertain with the women at first, but they pulled it back and did really well in the end. And Lancashire men now looking confident.
I mean, aside from the very early stages of this contest, Lancashire have had a grip on it for the vast majority. It wasn't quite the case with the women, was it? What were you most impressed with the girls earlier on today?
I think with the women, their comeback, so the bowling, Sophie Morris was absolutely brilliant. I thought she played really, really well. Batting wise, it wasn't the best performance, and I think that's where, you know, they'll have to look at either making changes or improvements, all that sort of thing. As I look, there's a slight injury to the wicket-keeper here.
We've been talking about cricketing injuries and things like that in the last 20 minutes, just off air in the green room here. But yeah, it looks like there's another one to contend with.
I'm sure wicket-keepers get some nasty injuries.
I bet
Plenty of broken or dislocated fingers, even if the gloves are quite good. But yeah, so I thought the women's team bowled really well, even though their batting wasn't quite the best, and the way they pulled it back in the end, making that recovery, I thought was good. Breaking partnerships at the top of the order, and yeah, I thought it was a good team performance. There was a mix of spin and seam doing well. Phoebe Graham got a couple of wickets as well, so yeah, good stuff ahead of a very busy season and what's quite a big season for that side as well. So very positive, and of course they're playing again on Wednesday, so they've got plenty more opportunities to test things out and get some practice in ahead of the summer.
There's a man with just trying to deal with the injury. Seems to have everything in his locker there, the paramedic. Couldn't work out whether the keeper there was calling him on or shooing him away. Looks like we're set to continue though.
So 63 for one ball remaining off this over. Bell on 25 from 27, and Bohannon 20 from 17.
Hot work at the Sevens ground in Dubai, or the Sevens Stadium in Dubai. It's a vast complex, sporting complex. You've got rugby, caters for cricket, football. I think Arsenal have a some kind of academy there as well, which obviously ties in with the Fly Emirates sponsors that they adorn on their shirts and at their ground in North London.
There's quite a few spectators here. I wonder whether some are players training for other teams or warming up, perhaps some youth players as well. As we mentioned, it's a fantastic facility, has really good training nets as well. And so quite a few spectators smattered around the ground.
Yeah, when I went, it was a T20 competition, and you got like counties, you know, plenty of counties involved. Yorkshire, I think, Somerset, Essex, teams like that. And they made a real big thing of it. So there was hospitality marquees and all that kind of stuff around. Not quite as busy there today, but still, as you say, there's a few on, and they're seeing a fairly dominant Lancashire performance, 64 for 1 after 9 overs, chasing 1-3-1. Partnership of 44 between George Bell, who has 21, and Josh Bohannon with 20.
Yeah, 44 from 39 balls, which has been decent. I remember when I was at the stadium, there was a cat roaming around, and apparently this cat was a regular there. Haven't spotted
the stadium cat.
Yeah, stadium cat, like down in Taunton. Haven't spotted it on the stream yet, but I'm sure it'll be there somewhere.
Really optimistic appeal from the bowler.
Quite comfortably ahead of the run rate at the moment, the target of 131.
I thought Bells was in trouble there. He must have got a bat on it. No. First impression was that was going on to hit, but obviously the umpire decided that it was going down leg. Even missing off. Shows what I know. Never make an umpire.
Yeah, they do always have to make the decision so quickly.
I know, yeah.
And also stick with their decision, which I think is the harder part. And even if you've got someone yelling at you, telling you it's out. And
If I was an umpire and I was on DRS and it came back, I'd made the correct decision. I'd really struggle to know. Yes.
Yeah, you feel so smug. You're like, yeah, I knew all along. Like, how dare you challenge my decision?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Then equally, it must be so humbling when you have to overturn your decision and be like, oh no, I was actually wrong, publicly in front of everyone at the ground and watching on TV. So not an easy job. 68 for 1, the final ball of this over.
Bell squeezes that one out. Come back for 2, maybe. Yeah, they do.
70 for 1 at the halfway mark. So that's the 50-run partnership between Bell and Bohannon. Those 50 coming from 45 balls in the last half an hour or so. And a few runs closer to that total of 131. So Graham will leave, and joining me will be Paul Short in a few moments. So that 50 partnership proving vital after the early 20-run partnership between Bell and Fonseca. .61 runs to win from the remaining 60 balls, but comfortably with those 9 wickets in hand. So Lancashire really on the front foot in this game. Flick down the ground, and they'll run through for a couple. Just ticking over those runs nicely.
Yes, this partnership's developing nicely, isn't it? At the moment, Bell and Bohannon.
That's hit hard, but it drops safely, and we'll go for a boundary. So good batting by Bohannon. They don't need to be getting those boundaries, but it's just to their advantage if they do so.
Yeah, Bohannon advances down the pitch. Didn't quite get that, did he? Got the bottom corner of the bat, bottom edge of the bat, but it managed to run over backward point and third man area for 4 runs. Lancashire requiring 56 off partnership, sorry, 56 off 47 balls. And there's 4 more for Bohannon as he rocks back, opens up the offside and plays that ball nicely through the offside for 4 runs.
Good back-to-back boundaries. Reminds me of the end of the UAE's innings where they really pressed on and piled those runs on right at the end when kind of thought they might be bowled out for under 100. But this is looking really good from Lancashire.
Nicely played that, isn't it? Just clip the ball out to the deep mid-wicket boundary. Bohannon, as he rotates strike, is now 33 off 24 with Bell 28 off 31. Again, good cricket, just rotating strike nicely. You know, there's always a balance, isn't it, when you build a partnership, and we talk as coaches about, you know, looking to score, so you're playing with intent, but you're not going reckless. I think these two have played pretty well.
End of the over, 83 for 1. 9 overs remaining, so 48 runs from those 9 overs, which you suspect Lancashire will do comfortably, but I mean, cricket's a weird game, strange things can happen, but this partnership between Bell and Bohannon has been brilliant, and they're looking quite confident.
Yeah, the partnership now is up to 63 off 51 balls in just 34 minutes, which is, from a Lancashire perspective, really pleasing to see, because I think these two, you know, getting on the plane in just a few days' time will feel better for the runs they're scoring today. It'd be great if they can just extend this partnership and take Lancashire to a 9-wicket victory as such. Still a long way to go though, 48 runs still required.
It's a great shot there from Bohannon. Races away to the boundary, nicely timed, just held the shot.
Yeah, lovely shot this, just waits for the ball. It's wide ball, so he's able to free his hands. Doesn't chase the ball with his left foot. His left foot goes down the line of middle and off, and he just releases his hands into the ball through the offside. Lovely shot. Ball looked just to keep a little bit low. Whether it was a slower ball or not, I didn't quite pick that then, but certainly bounced a little lower than Bohannon expected. Still, he's still there on strike, and he's 38 not out of 27 deliveries.
Moving, Boshy.
Again, good cricket, just knocking the ball to extra cover and running hard. Takes the score on to 88 for 1.
It's a nice shot again, this time from Bell. Makes the fielder race around the boundary, and they'll get a couple from it. Managed to push for 3 even. Bohannon on 39, Bell on 32. Just 40 runs to win. from the remaining 50 balls.
Nicely worked again to the leg side from Bohannon. We were chatting earlier on air around the success of spin bowlers. Barnard's bowled really well today. Also in the women's game, and I heard you mention on air as well around the importance of Sophie Morris, how much she's come on, and she's bowled really well, hasn't she?
Yeah, Sophie Morris was fantastic, and even Emma Lamb as well with her spin. Obviously, she's predominantly a batter, but she can bowl a bit of off spin, and that was very successful. She was very economical, but specifically Sophie Morris, in terms of wicket taking, she was very productive, and she came on and really had a difference. I mean, her first over, she was a little bit unsettled, and went for a couple of runs, but once she got into the rhythm of it, she was really, really good, and that's something I've noticed her even playing here in the Charlotte Edwards Cup over the last year or so. But yeah, for her to be doing that in pre-season is really encouraging. But yeah, also, I mean, the success of spin clearly on this pitch from the 2 games has proved so. So in terms of the trajectory, Lancashire are very much on course to win. Particularly if you look at the wickets column, they've only lost the 1 wicket, whereas at this stage the UAE were 4 wickets down and were very close to losing number 5 and number 6.
We're starting the 13th over. And Bohannon goes back and knocks that one down the ground nicely to get off strike again. Lancashire 93 for 1, required 38 off just 46 balls to win this game. They are knocking the ball around quite nicely now, aren't they? Just if it's not there, they're wanting to put the bad ball away, but if it's not quite there for that, then they're rotating strike really well.
Yeah, that element of rotating the strike has been really positive. Obviously, they have got a couple of boundaries. Even when they ran the 3 in, I think it was the previous over, just kind of pushing for more is really good.
And this partnership's growing nicely. In fact, the partnership, as we can see there, is 76 now, of just 62 balls in 41 minutes. Bella's got 29 of 30 balls, and Bohannon, the skipper for this game, 42 of 32. It's a good busy cricket, isn't it? Low risk, high reward cricket. If the ball's there to put away, they'll put it away. If it's not, knock it in the gap. That's 5 runs without a risk.
Yep, 34 runs to win with 42 balls. They've got plenty of time, and so as we've mentioned, this partnership is good. They're very settled. It should be plain sailing, but of course the UAE, from their perspective, they'll be wanting to disrupt this, get a wicket, get a couple more, and put Lancashire in trouble. But as it stands, the visitors look confident, almost at that 100 mark.
He's launched into that as Bohannon, again a little bit too full and a little bit too wide. That's enabled Bohannon to free his hands through the ball, which is a real danger for the opposition. It is on the up, but he's really struck that very hard indeed, and he's gone away for 4 runs through the covers. which moves Bohannon on nicely in his innings.
Brings the 100 up for Lancashire, and Bohannon edging towards a half century. $101 for 1. And again, another boundary, and that's the 50 for Bohannon. He brings it up in 35 balls. A fine innings, including 7 fours, and that's been vital for Lancashire's success so far. 105 for 1. So just 26 runs to win from 40 balls.
Yes, it's been a very good knock indeed by Bohannon. I think he's played really well, showing a good balance of attack and defence, but throughout showing really good intent to rotate strike and put the bad ball away. And if you look at his strike rate, 52 off just 36 shows that he's played pretty well. His job now is to take this game home and see if Bell and Bohannon can take this game home with 9 wickets in hand.
Chipped over the umpire to duck, doesn't quite make it to the boundary. Still managed to run a couple.
But from Bell's perspective, young George Bell, it's a good supporting role that he's playing. He's still going to run a ball without taking a risk. This all bodes well for this Lancashire batting lineup moving forward as they go into the season. They're going to need 3 or 4 of their top 4 actually, or top 5 in nick going into the season, so this is a good start for them.
Yeah, I guess the temptation in Bell's situation is to copy what Bohannon's doing and thinking, okay, well, if he's going for it, I may as well too. But actually, you have to have that balance, and having someone who's playing the more quote-unquote boring role is actually really important to keeping that partnership going. As a final ball of the over, the score 109 for 1, and there's going to be a change in commentary as myself and Paul Shaw will be departing. And so it's 6 overs remaining, 22 runs to win, with George Bell on 37 and Bohannon 52, having made the half-century milestone earlier in the over. Still 9 wickets in hand.
It's the dying embers of this game. Very much like 2 wins in the day for Lancashire's sides. The men having beaten their UAE counterparts far more convincingly than the women did this morning, but that was a good comeback performance from Ellie Threlkeld and co.
Yeah, this has been comfortable, hasn't it, by the men? Barring any last-minute catastrophes, of course. Impressed with Josh Bohannon. We were talking about his prospects of playing T20 cricket and getting in the Lightning side. And he's showing that he's got the tools to do that. And certainly the maturity as well.
Plenty of options for Dale Benkenstein, Keaton Jennings. When you think of people like George Balderson on the, hesitate to say the fringes of the side, but he's not been a regular by any stretch of the imagination. Getting his first taste last year, did well. Would expect him to push on this year, and then you've got the obviously the front line big guns in there as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at this side that's playing today, and you know, you've got the likes of Bell and Bohannon and Jones and Balderson, who are on the fringe of the T20 side. You know, they're not cast iron certainties to play.
No, absolutely not. I would think that Jones would be expecting to play. Come in, you know, having signed from Durham, international player.
Yeah, but he's not. I agree, but he's not. You know, he's not been in the mix in the past.
No.
But yeah, he will be thrown in. But you look, you know, the likes of Jennings and Wells and Hurst. Those three are cast iron to come in.
Absolutely, yeah.
Plus your overseas couple, that's 5.
It's going to be a hard team to pick, that Blast side. Although there's a couple of months, there's a lot of water to go under the bridge before then. 7 championship matches to play. Injuries and all that kind of stuff will come into play, no doubt. Rest, rotation, etc., etc.
Pleased for George Bell to have got this innings under his belt. He'll be wanting to go on and get to 50. Bit of a disagreement about whether it should have been a wide or not. I think the bowler thinks Bell moved before the ball was bowled like that, for instance. It's well played. He's played that a couple of times previously and hit the ball a lot squarer this time, hitting it through mid-wicket, picking up a boundary, and that gets him to 50, 51 from 45.
I've seen a couple of disagreements with umpires from the UAE side in this game. One of their batters was pretty unhappy that a wide wasn't called from a Jack Blatherwick short ball, which I thought was the perfect delivery, really.
Don't like to see that creeping in, actually, at any level.
No.
Knee-high full toss. Bunted down the ground by Bohannon. He'll pick up 2, comfortable 2. As Lancashire cruise here towards that 131 winning total. Just 3 needed now. So 16 gone, 128 for 1, 4 remaining, and it's comfy, isn't it? Just 3 to win.
How will it be finished off? Will George Bell look to finish it in style, or?
Well, that was a good shot. He's shown a liking for hitting the left arm spinner through the leg side, giving himself time to get over to the offside and hit through the leg side. would be nice to finish in a flamboyant way, but they won't want to do anything silly, I don't think, either of these two.
Yeah, I think whoever's coming in number 4 would be quite cheesed off to have to walk in with 1 or 2 to win at this stage.
Good partnership then, over 100. Oh, that could have been the ball to be thrashed through the covers. Still no run. Third time lucky. As that's hit past extra cover, all the way along the floor, through extra cover for 4. So George Bell seals the victory with a thumping cover drive off the back foot. Josh Bohannon, 55 not out. George Bell, 56 not out. Lancashire get to 132 for 1. It's a comfortable win in this T20 game out in the UAE. Lancashire win by 9 wickets with 3.5 overs to spare.
Yeah, after 2 defeats in India, this was an important day for the Red Rose. As much as wins and losses aren't the be-all and end-all of pre-season, there's plenty to be said for winning, and they will hop on that flight back to Manchester over the next 48 hours or so in good spirits after a performance which has seen plenty of players contribute to.
So congratulations all round. Players, as is customary these days, shaking hands with umpires and opposition. Been a good performance at the Sevens ground from Lancashire today. Much more heartening than their performances in Bangalore earlier in the week. And I think Josh Bohannon will be delighted with the way his team played today. One or two things that could have been improved in terms of the bowling, I think, but
yeah,
generally,
especially early on, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, the UAE side got off to a bit of a flyer. Lines and lengths erred, but aside from that, I think they were pretty dominant from there on in.
And it was a good partnership, chasing down that 1-3-1 between George Bell and Josh Bohannon, both of whom looking to stake a claim for a place in Lancashire's T20 side later in the summer. Always tricky, I think, on these pre-season tours when you're playing a T20 game with no prospect of playing it back here until maybe June.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, isn't it? That you've got 2 months to wait. All the focus from probably 2 or 3 days from now will be on the first game of the season, the championship.
Back into red ball mode.
Focus.
Yeah, back into red ball mode. But having said that, it's these are necessities. You know, there are the training facilities that we have, the sponsors that we have, the relationships they have with people out in the Emirates, with Emirates Airlines and Hilton and whoever else. It's necessary to have these games and have this as a feature of part of the pre-season tour, and it'll have gone down very well in all aspects, really. It's good to get the team winning. It's good to get the youngsters, and it is a young team that's played today. It's good to get them out into the middle and playing along together.
Yeah, there's no doubt Dale Benkenstein will have learnt a heck of a lot from from performances from the likes of Charlie Barnard going back to the start of the tour in Bengaluru, and obviously today as well has bowled really nicely. Jack Blatherwick, Ollie Sutton bowled with decent pace. So yeah, these are guys who are by no means certain starters in any competition, but Dale will have sat there watching over the last 3 game days and will have said, yeah, okay, he can do a job there. He can do a job there. I think that Charlie Barnard is the one who's really stood out with the ball. Thought he was exceptional. It's the first time that I've really seen him for any great length of time. And his control, his skill, his character has all really impressed me. I was saying before that I think he looks like he's somebody with an old head on young shoulders.
Okay, Graham, thanks for that. For the time being, we'll have a quick chat after. We're fortunate enough to be able to have a chat to Josh Bohannon, who's captain Lancashire today. He's mic'd up and hopefully listening in out there at the Sevens Stadium in Dubai. Josh, well done today. On a personal note, that's we'll start with that. It's a really good performance, and you'll be pleased to get that half century under your belt.
Yeah, thanks, Walt. Yeah, obviously it's a massive development in my career that I'm trying to get better at all the time. So to play the way I did in that situation and see the team home just on that last day before we do go home, finishes the tour off really well from a personal level, but also from a team's point of view too.
Yeah, it was important for the team to come away with a win because you've had a couple of games in Bengaluru where you've just been bedding in basically. And didn't get the results you wanted, but doubtless you'll have learnt an awful lot about this young team whilst you've been over there for the last 10 days or so.
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, it's obviously great to finish there with a win, which is all we asked at the start of the morning. So that's the first tick, I guess. And I think, like you said, on the back of what was, I suppose it's a tough one because you're obviously coming on these tours to obviously try and get ready for the summer, and it gives obviously the management and whatever to have a look at the younger guys that are always fighting for a spot. So obviously the results are not what we want. Obviously we pride ourselves on winning. So to lose them 2 games was obviously frustrating, and we know we didn't play our best cricket, but we did chat quite a lot during that trip, and there was quite a lot of positives that we take away from that on the back of some one-day stuff that we struggled with last year. So overall, yeah, it's been a really good 2 weeks and really productive 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Just going back over the 3 games, I think somebody that's really stood out to us here in the studio and back here at Emirates Old Trafford is Charlie Barnard with his bowling of his slow left arm spin, and he's sort of come to the fore in this pre-season trip, and we didn't really expect that, so that's really good news.
Yeah, I saw it. I've seen it all winter. I've been lucky enough to spend the full winter at home this year, and obviously see how hard the guys work in the indoor school, and he's just reaped the rewards of sticking to his guns and just wanting to learn the whole time. He's got a really good head on his shoulders. I go to him with ideas, and he's not afraid to tell me I'm wrong or that he don't think it's the right decision right now against this particular batter. And he's like for me, it feels like he's already played 100 games the way he talks to you, which is obviously really exciting for us as a club and for him as an individual as well. I think he's forever getting better throughout the winter, and we saw it last year within the one-day stuff what he can do, and he's reaped the rewards today. So really pleased for him. Yeah.
Good. How just sum up then how profitable and useful this trip is. It's the latest in a long line of pre-season trips that Lancashire have gone on. But just sum up how useful it's been for you to be captain in those 3 games. For the lads, as I said, it's a young squad. You've got a lot of youngsters out there. How profitable has it been for the group as a whole and for the club over the last fortnight.
Well, I think it's a great trip to come on. Obviously, subcontinent cricket, I've been lucky to experience quite a little bit of it now. So it is very different to what you get in England. But obviously, what that does do from another angle, especially the younger lads who haven't experienced it, you have to play cricket in a different way and learn different skills. So I think for the club to give facilities to go out there and challenge us as individuals in a very different way than we'll potentially get challenged in April is a good thing. You know, we're always trying to learn and get better, and not only that, it gives us quality time together with the coaches. So a lot of one-on-one time, a lot of centre wicket practice there, and we've tried to make it as real as we can. There's been a good bit of abuse flying around when we've had them sessions, and the lads have really played it hard and really gone at it for whatever session we provided them with. So it's testament to them really how they've gone about it and just wanted to learn the whole time. So I suppose moving forward for the club, giving options and opportunities to people to experience that and develop their games in different ways is in my opinion can only be beneficial for that player.
And is it a really good springboard now, because you've got to concentrate on red ball skills? You've got 7 championship games coming up. That's the focus over the next 2 months or so. Presumably you get back in the next couple of days and then start to focus on that when you get back to Emirates Old Trafford.
Yeah, we've got a couple of days off once we travel back tomorrow, and then after that working again, and we've got some meetings to have as a squad for the lads that haven't been able to come on this trip, or for whatever reason they've not come on this trip. So and then looking forward into that, we've got a week in Desert Springs as obviously we've got a chat as management to try, the management have got a chat, should I say, with Keats and whoever to work out a squad that potentially we're looking at to take to Lords on that first game. So we've got a week in Spain after that, where we'll obviously really focus on red ball stuff, but it's been a massively beneficial tour, this one.
Josh, thanks very much. We'll let you get your kit off and get yourself back to the hotel and prepare yourself for getting back to the UK tomorrow. Thanks for talking to us.
Perfect. Thanks, Walt. Cheers.
So, Graham, I think at the end of the day, Josh sums it up pretty well there. It's useful, very useful for Lancashire to be away for any number of reasons, and they can now concentrate on getting back for red ball stuff that starts in April.
Yeah, one of those reasons as well is the kind of team morale and team bonding ahead of a new season. Yes, these guys will have spent a whole lot of time together during the winter, but for the last 2 weeks they've lived in each other's pockets. Having been out there on a few of these trips, there'll be a couple of golf days maybe, water park and things like that. And those things, whilst they may seem trivial, I think they're pretty important to kind of build the team morale ahead of a long 6 months, because there will be tricky times, as we saw last season. Even if they have a really good season this year, there will be the odd day when that's tested.
Oh, well, that's true. They're coming back with the expectation, of course, that they'll get straight back out of the second division in red ball cricket and carry on being successful in white ball cricket. So the expectation is there already, not only from the members but also from the media as well, and probably from almost certainly from the players' perspective.
Yeah, and the management as well. You know, they will be absolutely, in their minds, nailed on for kind of promotion. I don't think it will be that simple. I think there's some decent sides in there. All it takes is a couple of early draws or things like that, and then you're playing a little bit of catch up. The rain might come and what have you. But yeah, I don't see any reason why they can't go straight back up. I expect them to do it, and I think, as we've seen over the last few years, I expect them to be strong in the blast as well. the Metro Bank is a different kettle of fish, just on the basis that as we're sat here now, we can't really gauge exactly who's going to be available, who's not. Not only because of the 100, but it's 3 or 4 months away, and we don't know who's going to be fit and who and what have you. So that's a little bit more difficult to gauge. But the first 2 competitions, I expect them to go well.
Graham, thanks very much. For the immediate past, though, Lancashire have had a very successful day today out in Dubai. Both teams, men's and women's, winning their respective T20 matches. The men come home tomorrow, back to some good weather in Manchester. Cold, but good weather for them to carry on their practice prior to pre-season. They'll go, as Josh Bohannon has just said, on to Desert Springs in Spain for a week as well. Not a bad life being a professional cricketer in playing for Lancashire these days. 1 or 2 away trips as well. So things have gone well for them. Went very well today out in Dubai. They've won. They've beaten a UAE team by 9 wickets comfortably with 3.5 overs to spare. Graham, thank you for your contributions today. We'll say goodbye to you now from Emirates Old Trafford and bring you some highlights of the game that was played and finished just a few minutes ago.
When I was a kid, there was no professional women's cricket. I didn't even think that women could be professional sports people.
Especially early on, it just didn't really seem like there was a career in it.
To support myself around cricket, I had to work at the petrol garage.
I was the only girl, so I stood out.
I'd love for young girls to be able to dream about being an athlete and it to be achievable.
Thanks to the Hilton funding my contract, it's allowed me to play the game that I love all day, every day.
We're like an engine and we need to be fuelled with the right gas.
Without funding, we can't be visible. You can't be what you can't see.
As a team, it feels like we're breaking boundaries.
Thunder and Lancashire always want to put women's cricket at the forefront, and now I think that's really shining through.
It's mad to think that without the Hilton funding, like, we wouldn't be playing cricket every day, training.
Well, we could be, but we wouldn't have any money.
We wouldn't, yeah, true.